Hello, people. I'm Lee Cole III, and I'm here with my partner, James Proctor. James, how are you doing today?
Hey, doing good, Lee. How are you doing? I heard Molly's a little bit under the weather.
Polly, get the
Polly
name
is
right.
under the weather. Yeah,
Ah, I had a girlfriend named Molly, but I
yeah.
never
That's
had a
why I
girlfriend named Polly.
confused about. But Polly.
Okay.
So I wish you the best with Polly, though.
I'll know when I take her to the vet on Tuesday morning.
Yeah.
And thank you for saying something. What I like to say, okay, so we're going to talk about this whole thing with Dominick Cicale, Gene Borrello going after. Uh, now, Gene started this.
Hmm.
Let's get it right. And I'm going to tell you why he started this. But they're going after Joey. And is it a mistake for them to go after Merlino?
Yes, it's a mistake. I
Why do you
don't.
think it's a mistake? Why do you think it's a mistake?
Well, I mean, the thing is that Merlino's got a good following. He's still loved in South Philly. He's got he's coming out with football picks. He's not talking about he's not ratting on anyone, nothing like that. I mean, everything that I've seen is above board. He's got people like what he's doing, and so I'm not sure how that Dominic and Gene will have any success, doing anything to slow down Merlino's ascent in social media.
Well, the other day when they went after him, I noticed that maybe 80 to 90% of the people in the chat were going after them for going after him.
Yeah.
And when you see something like that on your show, you got to say, wait a minute. And that's happened to me too. If you see something that doesn't agree with you, you stop it
Hmm.
because it's not, you are running your channel as a business.
Yeah.
And right before that happened, I text Dominic, a matter of fact. I said, Dominic, I think it's a mistake that you're going after uh, Merlino.
Yeah.
And he said, thank you for your opinion. And that was that.
Hmm.
But that's how I felt. I felt it was a mistake. And I don't
Yeah.
and very rarely do I ever text Dominic.
Right.
But when I seen the show pop up, I said, "Nah, this is a bad move." The guy has 23,000. He went from 13,000 to 23,000, 10,000 subs he picked up in like 5 days.
Yeah.
And uh, so this whole thing started when Gene came out and started attacking him,
Hmm.
and it was confusing because then Gene went on to Chikali's show and said that he attacked my mother. He didn't attack his mother. He said that your mother was in court with you,
Hmm.
but you guys attacked his wife, talking about her sexually. See,
Yeah.
that is where I think you got to draw the line.
Yeah.
There
I
was
just don't
nothing
like that.
negative.
Right. You can't be talking about Merlino's wife or anybody's wife that's not involved in this. I mean, the only one that I've known that we went after is Deborah Gravano, but she's knee deep or neck deep into the criminal behavior that Sammy's involved with. So that's the only difference. But you don't go after someone's wife. The truth is that I'm sure most guys, when they go to prison, if their mom's alive, then their family's going to be there to support them. But at the same time, going after the wife, saying that stuff, that's just gossip and not. That's just poor taste.
James, why do you think it is that when people are known as being rats or informants, why do you think they call people rats when they're attacking them, even though they're not rats?
That's a good point. I mean, I don't know if it's we went through that. We talked about with Sammy going after Linda Gotti, who's a woman, 19-year-old at the time, and a woman that is not involved in that life, and so I don't know. I don't know if it's part of. It might be a mindset that they get tired of everyone calling them rats, talking about the ones that have informed, and then they see someone that they can go after and put them in that same category, then they're going to do it.
They can't. They can't put Merlino in that same
No, they
category.
can't, but they try. And I've heard
Yeah.
that, yeah, and even Merlino saying that the ones that are going after him are people that informed. And so, I don't know if part of it is that, that they don't want him bringing out the paperwork. There's some, we went through that list of guys and talked about it that Merlino mentioned, and man, some of them did some pretty bad stuff.
And then Gene, Gene brings up this John Rubio guy and talks about what a great guy he is.
Yeah, that's the guy I'm talking about in particular.
This guy's a scumbag. This guy's like the bottom of the barrel. You got your rats, and then you got your sleazy rats. Yeah. This guy's a sleazy rat. He's like the bottom of the barrel. He's just he bragged about what he did. He bragged about how much money he made while he was working with the FBI, the feds. I mean, this is the wrong guy to be saying, oh, he's a good guy. He's not a good guy. This guy's a scumbag.
Yeah, and he was still doing drugs supposedly, and then he was selling, and then he was making $15,000 a month from the government. And I don't know if that's true or not, but he's sure bragging about it. If so, then man, I'm not too happy with how our tax dollars are going.
Yeah, and I find it hard to believe they were paying him $15,000. To be honest with you, I don't know what order he was. He was a low level rat that went after that testified against Merlino. Merlino wound up taking a plea and a sentence. But this guy was out there bragging. I'm this one's. Who wants a friend like this? I don't understand this.
Yeah, I don't think that's the person you want to being used to defend your position.
Okay, then when they went after him, the chat room was 80 to 90% of the people were very negative, and that's a weird. That at that moment should tell you that you're playing in a playground that you just shouldn't go into, because whether you like Joey Merlino or not, he's going to be bigger than most of these guys on here. Would you say that's correct? He's already bigger than Cicale. He's already bigger than Mikey Scars in a month.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's just going to continue. I mean, he's got, like I said, they're doing the show very professionally. They've got not saying that other shows aren't professional. There's a lot of good shows, but they basically keep it to 25 minutes. They have a certain format they're using. They don't spend the whole time talking about informants, or they don't really, the only stories talked about mob that I know of about the armored car heist, which everything he's going to say is stuff that's public knowledge. So he's not going to be revealing any mob secrets or anything like that.
And we did a show on Chris Paciello, or Cello, or whatever you want to call him.
Yes.
And another guy that was complimented. This is a guy that was involved with a woman getting shot in the face and dying.
Yes.
This was the guy that maybe testified against 70 guys.
Mm-hmm.
This was the guy that while he was working with mobsters in Florida, he was setting them up.
Yeah.
Another John Rubio dirtbag.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, exactly. I mean, this guy is just, and everything with him, he's just, he happens to know how to use other people's money. He knows how to use celebrity. He got lucky in a lot of ways because of what Ingrid or whatever the lady's name was. That really set him up to be able to get the folks from from the mob side, from the celebrity side to come in there. And at that time, they did not know that he was involved in any sort of shooting of a woman. He was the driver in that Judy Shimtalk shooting. And so they didn't know that. But I'm sure it took a little bit of a hit when people knew that, because, Hollywood loves the gangster, but they don't love a gangster that does horrible crimes,
Unless they're transitioning.
Yeah.
Then they love them. Okay.
Yeah.
It depends what you're doing in Hollywood nowadays.
Yeah.
Okay. But, okay. And so I would hear that, and I'm going to put something up. People will say, Lee, we'll talk about the Sammy Gravano thing at the end of the show. I'm sorry. Okay. We'll continue. So Gene also made another statement. he was making fun of how tough they are in Philadelphia. Is Philadelphia tougher than Howard Beach?
Yeah, I mean, I would say they're tougher than Howard Beach.
The gangsters lived in Howard Beach. They lived there in houses and
I mean,
nice
that's not
big
where they're going to
houses.
be doing their criminal behaviors, or their criminal acts aren't being done in Howard Beach. I mean, I'm
Gene
sure
was
there's
doing
some
his
crimes.
criminal.
Yeah. He was doing home
Gene
invasions and stuff.
Gene was the crime back then in Howard Beach.
Right.
Then you had mobsters that lived there because it was to this day, Howard Beach is a very nice area.
Yeah, it's nice.
You know, like anything in New York, you're going to have your crime, but you cannot. Are you going to compare it to Philadelphia? Are you insane? It's like, really? We're going to, and then you said there's 3 guys on a street corner. Okay, Gene, we're going to play something for Gene, and hopefully he'll watch this. And Gene, feel free to give me your opinion. You always do. What did you say to me? I am on Joey Merlino's geek. So, you know, but he's entitled to say what he wants to me. It doesn't bother me. That's just how Gene is.
Today's Philly mob has about 20 to 25 made guys on the street, with another dozen or so in prison. This is a far cry from the 80 made guys and the control that Philly had across Pennsylvania, New Jersey, and Massachusetts 30 years ago. RICO, cameras, Italian-Americans moving out of the city and into the suburbs, along with more socio-economic opportunities for Italians, has led to the mafia's decline across the country. The Philly crime family can trace its decline back to the famous mob hit on the gentleman Don Angelo Bruno. After Bruno's death in 1980, the Philly mob family went through 3 bloody wars and over a dozen wise guys being taken out and scores more being put away. Many crews are gone, including Atlantic City, which was once a Philly family stronghold. The decline will continue as there are very few prospects going into that life.
Very well done.
Thank you. Yeah, the point I was making there is that, there's a decline, but that declines across the country. But they still have, 20, 25, 30 people on the street. There's, they got 15 or 18 that's behind bars, So the thing is, they got hit really hard in some indictments in 2018 and also in 2020. So, they have been hit, but they still have, a pretty decent crew size, especially in South Philly. They have South Philly. South Philly's not it's totally not. It's not Howard Beach. It's definitely pretty dangerous in South Philly, but they still have a lot of influence in South Philly. But I mean, they're not as strong as they were 30 years ago. But
nobody
they're still
is
formidable. Yeah, no one is. Not even the
government is the strongest gang out there right now.
Yeah, they are. If you want to say that's the truth, the biggest mafia is the U.S. government right now. And so, but only 3 people on a street corner. That's not true. They've been, even when Gene was out on the street, they were, they probably had 40, 50 guys at the time. And so, they weren't, no one says that they're weak or anything.
Well, and they had 3 different factions too. They had the Queens Bonanno family, the Bronx, and they had Brooklyn.
Yeah,
and 3 different. And I'll guarantee you, the Howard Beach Bonanno were not nearly as tough as the Bronx or the Queens. I'm sorry, the Brooklyn.
Brooklyn, yeah, right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So big difference. That's where a lot of those guys went to live. They didn't go there to be gangsters. They went to live.
Right.
Asaro or whatever those. I know John Gotti lived there. Joey Merlino lived there.
Yeah.
Because it was a beautiful area to live.
Yeah. Yeah. Of course. Okay. So.
Okay. So what do you think? If you and you probably could do this, if you could say to Dominick, "Hey Dom, does this even work?" What suggestion would you give to him about picking a fight right now with Joey Merlino?
Yeah, so I'd like to know what the end goal is. Is it to get more views and subs? Well, maybe that'll work. I don't know. At least initially.
I don't think so. That's not going to work. I don't see any evidence of it working.
Yeah, and that's the point I was going to make, because most people, I would say 90% of the people are pro Merlino, right? And so I just don't see that he'll get much benefit. This isn't like going after someone like Sammy Gravano. That can be very beneficial. But Joey is, he's got a good show. I think it's best.
Joey's not a rat. Sammy is.
Right. And so with Joey, I just let him do his show. He's doing sports picks. He does some stuff on informants. I mean, what I saw for Joey, he was going after Gene because what Gene said, and then he was using, and then he spent 5 minutes talking about other informants and some of the stuff they did, and that stuff that was documented.
He did not even know who Gene was.
No.
He didn't even know him.
Right.
So Gene opened that can of worms for no reason, if you ask me.
Well, and I think Dominick was upset about the thing, or you remember it started too before with Dominick when he was talking about Chris Paciello being a tough guy, and you remember that upset Joey because Joey had that interaction with him at the Miami Heat game.
Right. But the reality is Joey knows who Dominick is because Dominick was really in the street.
Oh, yeah.
And it made man.
That's true.
There's a difference.
Yeah, he knew him.
Why would Gene was not. Gene was in the streets. He was a borderline associate at best.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the difference that you can see there. I mean, he knows who Panisi is. He even said that he dealt with Panisi one time.
One time, yeah, they met once.
Yeah, so he knows who Panisi is. But these guys are made guys.
Mm-hmm.
And when Joey came on, what did he say? He said, "Who's this?" He didn't even pronounce his. He pronounced Gene's last name like I used to pronounce his last name all along.
Yeah.
And okay. So where do you think this is going to go now? Do you think that Joey Merlino is going to come back, pull out all the history on Dominick and go at him?
That's a good question. I mean, it could happen. I mean, he's going to do, what is it called, Rat of the Month or whatever. Maybe Dominick becomes one of those. I mean, there are some things. I know when we did our research on Dominick and before we had a chance to get to know him, some of the stuff the press put out there, it was pretty bad stuff. So I could see him continuing this with Dominick, but, I don't think he will focus on one particular informant over another. I think he's just going to give examples each week or each month on what these guys have done. But I just don't see there's much of a way to win even the war of public opinion.
There's not.
Yeah.
You got a likable guy going after. Okay, now a likable guy going after people that are liked by many but also hated by many.
Yeah. Right.
And I'm sure there's people that don't like Merlino.
Oh, yeah.
But the average person on here that don't know anything about Merlino, they like him a lot. Merlino did a lot of work in the streets in Philadelphia. He put up a lot of food pantries. He was at those food pantries serving foods, giving turkeys away. He has something planned for this Thanksgiving. So he stays very active with them.
Yeah.
Now, what do you think about them calling him the boss of the Philly family?
That's a good question because I've heard.
And dear, I'm by myself.
Oh, you can't hear me.
Okay, you froze up.
Are you not able to hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, so
I can hear you now.
Okay, so not sure what happened, but the idea of him being the boss, that's mixed. I've heard some people say yes, he's still the boss. I've heard people say that he did give it up in 2000, after 2001 or 2011, and so the thing I do know about the family, they're more involved in loan sharking. They're involved in those type of traditional mob type crimes. They don't really have much influence into the unions. I know that Joey got in trouble in 2018 down in Florida for some Medicare fraud, or got involved in being charged. And so, is he the boss? I mean, it's possible. You know, I don't know if he's active. I know that he spent most of the last several years being in Florida, with sometimes going up to South Philly, but you know, I don't know. I mean, some people say he does. He is the boss. Some people say he's not. I don't know.
Here's my opinion. Absolutely not.
Yeah.
I think it's not a ifs, ands, or buts. He's being watched all the time. He'd be insane if he was.
Yeah.
I just don't think it's true. I don't care who people say they hear this from.
Right.
Nobody wants to be the boss of no family anymore.
No.
Unless you want to go back to prison, because that's what they'll be waiting for, to put you back in prison.
Yeah, exactly. And there's not, yeah, I mean, you don't, it's not the position of glamour it once was. I don't know. I don't see that. I don't believe he is either. I mean, like I said, I've heard both sides of it, but George Anastasia, who probably knows, he's probably closer to any of these guys that's not, you know, that's an outsider, said he's not the boss. So, you know, I'll just kind of go with what Anastasia said.
Yeah, I'm just going to stick with absolute, not even maybe, ifs, or anything. I think absolutely not. That's just my opinion.
Yeah.
I think that anybody that is a boss in any family now doesn't even want to be known.
Yeah.
And why would you, if you go to prison and you come back out to be the boss of a family, you really got a problem.
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah.
I mean,
Why
that becomes an egotistical, control freak type of thing. It's just not smart, because you will go back to prison.
Yeah.
And when he was brought up with that Medicaid thing, did they say at that time that he was the boss of the Philly family?
No, and it wasn't even anything. Yeah, it was more personal type dealings with some people. It, you know, there wasn't really any.
But it's a federal crime. It's a federal crime. So
yeah.
So if he was involved in something like that, that would have become a federal crime.
Yeah, exactly. They would have definitely,
and they would have
found a
said
way
that he
to
was
do
the
that.
boss.
Right. In 2018, there was a lot of indictments against the Philly family, and Joey Merlino was never involved in those indictments. The only indictments he was in was totally unrelated with Medicaid or Medicare fraud.
And if he was involved in that, being the Philly boss at that time, he would have been on those indictments.
You know how the government is, of course. They would have had him they would have totally had him in that indictment.
Okay, now this I'm going to give to the geniuses, the people that worship Sammy Gravano. I'm going to prove to you how many people dislike him. It's like a couple content makers made remarks that so many people are saying that Lee is wrong doing this. More people believe it the otherwise. See, what you're seeing is you're seeing a group of Sammy Gravano people coming in and attacking me, and you're seeing a group of people that don't like me attacking me about this whole thing. James, are you there?
I am here, yes.
Okay. Well, James not there. He's having trouble with his phone.
No, I can't.
Okay, so are you there, James?
Yes, I am.
Okay, so I'm going to put something up to prove to you guys that Sammy's not as loved as you think. James, how has our show been doing the last month?
Well,
since this whole thing happened with Sammy?
Oh God, we're close to 2,000 new 2,000 new subs. We're already past that number on the screen, 13,300.
Yes.
We have over 800,000 views.
Yeah, and just so people can understand, when I went down to see Sammy originally, we averaged about 160,000 views a month.
Mm-hmm.
Now, for the last month, we've been averaging. Well, now it's 799 in the last month. This is for the last 28 days, 29,000 hours. And that would be a lot more, but we do a lot of shorts.
Mm-hmm.
And we're over 13,300.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. That's even, and that's just from a couple hours ago we took this shot. So we're already above 13,300.
Yeah. There's a couple shows that are busier than ours now. Gravano, and shows like that.
Yeah,
we're averaging 20 to 30,000 views every day.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, so we've had so many people sub. I've had so many people write and say, thank you for going after Sammy like that. People that aren't rats are people that don't personally dislike me. People that don't like Sammy literally came after me still, even though they didn't like Sammy.
Right.
You know? But
yeah, the people that are gangsters, I mean, a lot of people that's in that life still, and people that, you know, never ratted. It seems like all of them are in favor of what you did. I mean, it's amazing to hear out of the woodworks people that are in that life that never heard from before. But it definitely was people that, I mean, it's just amazing to me that not one negative person.
Yeah, the people that defend Sammy are young people that they know nothing about Sammy Gravano or what type of evil human being he is.
Yes.
And that's what they don't understand. Well, I love Sammy Gravano. Yeah, but if you were Sammy Gravano's friend and he wanted something from you, he would take you out just like that.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and he done it his whole life. Okay. With that, we just wanted to put that out there. And people, just so you know, I'm going to put this up here right now. Give me 1 second. Okay. Please subscribe and hit the like button and reminder bell. If you want to donate to the channel, you're more than welcome to. If you can't, totally understand. Don't expect anything for anybody. We only want something to help with this channel if you choose to do so. And also, we have a Patreon page with Angel Gotti. It's called My Father's Daughter Patreon page. We've been putting most of our stuff on there. Angel has. She's doing a live maybe twice a week now on YouTube. So if you want to see her, we're going to be starting lives there very shortly within the next few days. And we're going to be doing lives there. You can go to Angel Gotti, My Father's Daughter on Patreon. And the link will be below this. And you can join that channel. And with that, is there anything you'd like to say, James, before we leave?
No, I mean, this is just it's a fun discussion. I mean, you know, it's going to be interesting to see where Joey Merlino ends up. I mean, I just see that it's going to continue to grow. I just don't. I think he'll be one of those that'll get to, 100,000 views in, just a few months. I mean, 100,000 subs in just a few months.
I see that in 2 months. I predict 2 months he's at 100,000. That's just my prediction. Yeah. If people like you, and us as content makers, we got to be careful who we go after. We really do.
Yeah, I agree.
Because there's some people that if they have 80% popularity, I went after a couple popular people that didn't pay off for this channel, but it never hurt me as bad as the Joey Merlino thing. If I didn't like him, I just wouldn't talk about him.
Yeah, right.
Or get involved. And my advice to Gene is, Gene, you just got out of jail. Just do your thing, man. Don't get up. Don't be the old Gene. The old Gene didn't work for you. Move on. Move on in life. That's it. With that, you take care, my man.
Hey, thank you.
Thank you, everybody. Take care.